Hello everybody. This will be my first video about e-bike battery lithium-ion pack repair and recondition. Very quick. This battery was built by a company in France in 2016 and it has been installed in my wife's e-bike. I did it, I bought the motor and everything. It's just I didn't build at that time the battery in 2016. And 3 years after, 2019, they start to have a problem. And then I removed the heat shrink protection, and I discovered that part of it was broken. You can see this part, and then the metal strip, they were unsoldered. So there were three problems here. So I shipped back at that time to the company. And then, well, they claim to have repaired properly, but so far so good. It worked for a few years, And about 3 to 4 months ago, my wife started complaining that her bike will stop working once the voltage was below 36 volts. So then I thought, I'm going to open everything. I'm gonna try to study a bit the circuit and understand. And then it came to my attention that this bar was behaving strange. So with a knife, I opened the metal strip here, and then I found there were two batteries. They were dead, 0 volts. So that was the reason. At some point, the BMS would disconnect for safety, But I discovered another problem is the company never really made a good job to repair that part, which was not very well soldered back then in 2016. One battery here was leaking, and the other one started to get a bit shocked and everything. So again, I remove all this bar, and in that case, you can see that's the bar I removed, and it is severely damaged, because I think it's when you look the problem back that company in France, I think they were maybe learning the process to solder, so it was not too strong soldering welded here, and that's why at some point the thing lift up. Plus I know they put some of the spacer, they were not blockers in the plastic and everything. I don't know what they did, but then I think they super welded. So this bar, there's no way I can reuse it. So that's, it's punctured, so it would be very hard. But you can see, for example, these one are faint solder. So I will reinforce later the soldering, okay? So I took everything apart, and okay. And now I just have a few questions, because the problem is to remove the batteries, you have to cut. There are some blockers in the plastic, and that's the only way. I mean, this thing is like, it's super rigid once you assemble all this. So you have to cut some part, otherwise everything is blocked. And I don't want to remove everything and redo the soldering, whatever. So I'm gonna have to buy some spacers, new ones, to reinstall them, because the company really made a horrible job back then. But here I will not be able to put new spacers. So you see, I had to cut here. So the battery, you see, if you put the battery, it can't slide down. So I don't know if this could be a serious problem because of the vibration. Okay. The other thing is, I think this metal, you see, it was, I tried to make, you see, it was fainted. It was not soldered very strong. That's their mistake they did. In fact, all the battery back then. That's why at some point here, it got disconnected. But I would like to know from your experience if it's better that I change that thing or if this one can be reused with a welder. And then the problem is, how can I block the battery to move here? Because see, I had to cut. There are some tiny, for example, if you take, I don't know if you see here, you see here, there's tiny things that block the battery, and same thing on the other side. I do know here I cannot reuse that bar, and then I want to decrease the, let's say, the soldering workload. So here I just cut it. You see, this is one totally. So I was wondering if I can solder here. Is it a good practice to joint, or is it better that I also remove this, you know? And then the last question I have for you, for those of you who have experience, is all these batteries, you see there are some leftovers, metal leftovers from the previous soldering. And what is a safe method to remove this, or is it okay to again solder a new strip? I mean, this might be okay, but for example, if you take the other ones, this is the, let's say, you see here, okay, this is more dangerous because if I scratch that, I might make a short circuit with here. So any recommendation about the topic is how can we reuse and prepare cells, lithium-ion cells that were previously soldered? What's the best practice? So I have bought from a company 10 cells here. So my idea is to, they were made in 2020 and it is claimed they were never used. So they age my fit, because you see, I don't want to rebuild a new battery, buying all these new cells and everything. I mean, ideally I should have to remove everything and then redo, but I don't want to do that. Maybe it's a wrong idea, please tell me. Otherwise, if you can provide me guidance, suggestion, you know, how can I, let's say, artificially reblock here once if I put the batteries, or is it okay? I mean, what method to secure? Because you understand, then when the bike is moving on the road, you will have lateral movement, you know. So the system actually, this spacer assembly is super smart, because then, you know, it's a great thing. It's just a premise when it's assembled and you want to change one cell or two cells. I mean, what's the minimum effort, but then good safety to replace, where you don't have to redo the whole thing. So unless maybe you know some videos or tutorial, you can advise me. I would be very thankful. Okay, thank you for your attention. And again, if you can provide any tricks, any guidance, it will be much more appreciated. Bye-bye.